Hello, everyone. How are we today? Hello, everybody in chat. It's good to see everybody. Yes, hoot hoot indeed. All right, so we will be starting here shortly. Yeah, not really much to go over, so let's just jump right into it.
Come on, come here.
Oh,
Like half of her eyeballs like closed, and she's got like dead head. She's like half of her head is like smushed, like her hair is smushed on one side and sticking up, and she's like half of her eyes like closed, like really sleepy, and she's like looking at me like, "You look hungover. Come here."
I assume we're talking about Pixel.
Yep, your best friend.
Talking about
My
you.
best friend.
Your best friend.
I wish I was just rolling out of bed.
She got woken up, and then I like look at her, and she looks like a cranky old lady.
Plug the thing. Are we talking about the newly updated Twitter that's actually running now? Yes, so we are on Twitter. I don't have a command for Twitter because I'm a noob, but I'm sure Pixie can drop the link. But we have the Twitter up and running. If you want new updates or announcements, or when random things go up on the YouTube or anything like that, check there because that's where it's all going to be, instead of on my Twitter or any of that kind of stuff. There it is. Look at that. She's so much better at life than I am.
No, I can't.
Hey. All right. So, when last we
It didn't work.
left our... Well, you're not a mod, so that would be what?
No, he just.
No, I was just being stupid for type with the type command first.
When last we left our group, they successfully completed task 2 by sending Xander in to fight for them.
And
most-
Yeah, and it took a little bit, but
It took a while. It was a fight. There's a lot of missed blows.
Oh, I was just messing with him, you know,
Right.
make it a good fight, you know, for the crowd.
oh, of course, yes.
Tiny read a little bit more of her book. It's pretty much all Tiny did, in fact, is read.
I knew it.
And then you guys witnessed a knight of some sort come into the keep, demand to see the founders or the owners, and speak with somebody named Cyrilia, who you kind of sense is like maybe second in command. You don't really know what she does, but she's definitely the person that took charge. He said some interesting stuff, and some people picked up on it, some people didn't. And then that was it. And that is where we left off. So, give me a second to switch to the correct thing here. Alrighty. So, that was where we left off. As Cyrilla grabs him and leads him to the back towards that one door. Nathan turns back to the rest of you and says, well, that was certainly interesting. But anyways, on to task 3, your final task. He looks at all of you. He kind of waits for Tiny to actually put her book down. He looks at you and says, you might actually want to pay attention to this one.
I peep up and I close my book and look at him.
All right. Well, like I said, this is the third and final task. Upon completing this successfully, you guys can consider yourselves initiates of the order. Anyways, he reaches into like his pocket of his cloak, and on the table he puts down a ruby. And then next to the ruby, he puts down a small glass vial that's got this like swirling acid green liquid in it. And he says, so, this morning one of you was poisoned. You have until around sunrise tomorrow morning to figure out who it was, or they die. Feel free to use all of the resources in the keep. You are not permitted through that door that Cirilla just went through. Other than that, enjoy. And Nathan kind of just stands up and walks away.
I'd
What-
like
Wait,
to cast
excuse
Detect
me?
Magic on the ruby and the potion, please.
Yep, sure.
Uh,
So when you cast Detect Magic, you get a very strong magical urge from the ruby.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you like try to focus on the vial, you're not sure. Like the ruby is overpowering anything that's on the table.
What kind of roll for the vial to attempt to identify?
yeah, I was gonna say, have I seen
Um,
anything like in books or anything depicting that sort of
No,
potion, or no? Okay.
not really. What are you You're just proficient in thieves' tools, correct?
And putting on makeup.
Mm-hmm. So you can
Over.
you can try a medicine roll
Hey.
with disadvantage.
Okay. That disadvantage though.
Yeah, wasn't
Um,
great. Nah, you're
I got
not
no
sure.
clue what that is, guys. No clue.
I'd like to move the ruby a decent distance away from the vial and then cast Detect Magic on the vial again.
Uh-huh. So when you pick up the ruby, with all of the magical energy that you're sensing around this, you feel like you're gonna like kind of shock yourself or something. You're not really sure. But when you pick it up, literally nothing happens. It's just a cold gemstone in your hand.
All right.
And as you go to like pick it up and move it down the table and focus on the vial, it's got a faint magical distinction to it. You're not really sure exactly what's going on with it. It's not necessarily your forte.
So okay, so is it considered an alchemical object?
It could be. Mm-hmm.
Because I have Artificer's Lore,
Mm-hmm. Which does.
and that says whenever you make an intelligence history check related to magic items, alchemical objects, or technological devices, you add twice your proficiency bonus instead of any proficiency bonus
Okay.
normally.
So
With that, how would that?
the
like, I'm just
antidote
wondering.
would not,
Uh-huh.
the antidote vial, whatever poison, you're not sure what it is, would not be alchemy. That's more of like a poisoner's kit or herbalist type thing or something like that.
Okay.
However, the ruby, if it's enchanted, very
I would
much is
know.
probably alchemy.
So I could do a history insight,
Mhm.
and then I would get. It
You
says
add your proficiency bonus to whatever roll you get.
okay, so it says proficiency bonus is 2, so I will roll that. Got it.
Can I do a medicine roll on the vial?
Yep, sure can.
Okay. So then add 2, so it'd be 11.
11. Okay.
Fuck.
So you know that there are certain enchantments that you can place on gemstones, particularly things like rubies and sapphires, that
Mhm.
will tell you when an effect has taken place. So with the context clues around you, and because you've seen something kind of like it before, you know that this ruby will probably change colors when the poison has been cured.
Okay. Okay.
And that's something
then-
that it's not completely unknown to you.
Okay.
Kyler, you under the impression, and after looking at the liquid and stuff like that without taking it out of the bottle or anything, are under the impression that this is an antidote of some sort. Sorry. And that there is enough dosage, depending on what the poison was, to probably cure one of you. Maybe.
Okay, so he told us that we were poisoned.
Morning.
He didn't say how.
Nope.
So
What did we eat this morning?
Yes, you
I
guys
mean,
all ate at the.
we
inn.
all ate
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Everybody,
Except for me.
no,
except for
you're right. Except for Stisk, who decided to leave.
And I
Okay.
had my rations.
Yes.
you had. So you ate your. Okay, so the only person that we know for sure that can't be affected by the poison is Styx here. Great.
No, that's
lovely.
only if it came from the food. I could have been ejected another way. Someone could have rubbed something on me while we were at the arena.
Well, where were you? Okay. He said this morning though, right? We were all poisoned this morning, correct? Or am I just making up this morning?
He did. He said one of you
said
was
this morning.
poisoned this morning. Yes.
Okay, so it was this morning. So safe to say that Styx could possibly be the only one safe from the poison, since he had his rations and he wasn't with any of us, and all of us had ate and like ingested like liquid from like from the
inn, and you've probably had like a drink when you got to the keep from walking up the stairs or whatever. There is like a little bar in here. Also,
did Styx? Well, my question is like I want to know like who had what. Like Styx, did you have any?
So Tiny, Kyler, Xander, and Vorag all ate and drank at the inn for sure, 100%.
Okay.
Styx had his rations this morning as he was determined to walk to the keep by himself and figure some stuff out. So he is the only person that did not eat at the inn this morning.
Okay,
and I
so
only drank from my water skin, so it's not me eating or drinking anything.
So yeah.
So yes, you can rule Styx out if you're thinking eating and drinking.
If we're thinking eating and drinking, other than that, it could be something else.
Could be something
like
else.
Somebody could have put something on like.
Also,
the bed
it's important to note that it's probably around noon.
How much time did he say?
Probably got 12 hours.
I mean, I would think less than that though.
He
If it's noon
specifically
right now.
said sunrise.
Oh, okay.
So till dawn.
Okay, well, I know this much. Reading books, all I know is that with the ruby, it is enchanted, and it will most certainly change color once the poison or whoever is poison is cured. So we need to make sure that we can hold on to the ruby and make sure that we check it thoroughly. Well, shit.
Yep. The
I
other
don't
thing
know
that
where
he
to
did, the other thing that he did say is that you had access to the entire keep except for the one door in the back wall, which Tiny would immediately say,
Library!
Tiny, real quick.
Bore, what? Yes.
Do you know, like, common-wise, early onset symptoms of poison?
Would I know that with my vast
Kyler
knowledge
would
of
know.
books? Oh, I wouldn't?
Well,
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you might, but Kyler would probably
you guys?
interject.
Okay.
Yeah, he would probably interject in this and say, it depends extremely on the poison and the thousands of different plants that they could have used to make it.
Okay.
It also depends on how we were poisoned, if it was ingested or contact or inhaled.
How about I go find Nathan and I get some information from him?
I'll help.
Xander. No, guys. The last thing we want to do is we want to anger them. Okay, this is a test. Remember, we explained it was a test. Xander, you just got done, like, beating the shit out of someone.
Oh, I'm fine.
And also getting the shit knocked out of you as well.
Yep.
Let's take it easy, especially like, and if you're the one who's poisoned, you being already weak and beat the shit probably isn't helping.
Yeah, and getting your blood flowing from an altercation might not be the best idea.
That nice lady touched me with her light hands, and I'm all good.
As far as you know, that could have been her poisoning you.
Yeah. So, Xander.
Let me go talk to her then.
No, Xander. Okay.
But we were specifically told we can't go talk to that one.
Xander.
No, you can.
You know what
the person that.
He said that door over there. I'm pointing.
Yeah, the
She went
person.
through that door.
No. That was Cirilla.
That was a
Verena,
different. Yeah.
the
Verena is the healer,
cleric,
the one that you met
essentially,
yesterday
is the one that
in the
touched
hot
him.
springs or whatever.
Right.
Okay, Xander. Can you do me a favor?
Yes, little one.
Can you please? I want you to I want you to guard Kyler. Yeah, guard him with your life all day, okay? And if you see anything strange, you let him know.
Why me?
That's
Because I'm going to the library with Vor, and I really don't want to take him to the
Sis,
library.
you take him.
No, don't.
I'm what? Fine.
You're-
Xander, come with me.
You're the one who technically recruited him, okay? So this is on you, okay? So
well, I know he needs protection.
Yes, he does need protection. Even from
On the
himself. And
ground, do you
Xander,
remember? He
Xander,
was just
you
on
are
the
you are
ground.
you are the strongest, most loyal bodyguard I have known within these past couple days. So
When she
you're the
says
only
that-
person I really trust.
Vorag gets a little sad.
Oh.
Wait, what? Bart. Then I kind of flick him on the ear because I'm on his shoulder. I flick him in the ear. I'm like, Bart.
Ears?
His ear,
He's a lizard.
Ear hole.
ear
Yeah.
hole,
You're
near
gonna
where,
flick him in the ear hole.
like where his where humans would have ears or whatever.
Yeah.
That's where I'd flick him at. Like, Bart.
Can
All right, where are we going?
I want to
Well,
see if they have any other people here who look like they could be fresh initiates or like younger people in
They,
the keep.
yeah, they definitely have
well,
people that are younger. Yes.
He
I'm
said
gonna-
we can go
Wait,
anywhere,
what-
but there. You can go anywhere.
thank you,
That
Xander.
door.
Yes, Xander.
Which door?
Are they like sitting at a table?
Well, what is Cat? Tiny's really trying to get something out.
Okay, so we're going to split up, obviously. I'm going to check the library with Vor. We're going to see if we can find anything about any poisons or, get any clues. I also would like to speak to the person in charge of the tavern or what do you call it? It's not really a tavern because it's inside the keep.
It's like a
So
little
we can
bar. There's nobody
going
in
to-
charge of
Yeah,
it.
I'll talk, and I'm gonna talk to my friend at the bar. And I kind of waved the little book that you gave me.
Oh, you're talking
Um,
about.
Yeah, her.
Hold on.
I can't remember her name.
I'm drawing a blank for it right now. Hold on.
Well, let's just call her Nathan like we call
is-
everybody
nope.
else.
No,
There's two Nathans. Chill out.
you're not calling
Inris.
her name. Inris. And I was like, I'm gonna talk to Inris, and I kind of waved the book she's the one who gave me this kind of thing. And I was like, but we need to figure out what time we can meet up to at least touch base and make sure that everybody's all right. Because if it is poison,
Make sure no one
We
else
wanna
touches
make sure-
that book
okay, I won't
in
make
case
sure.
they put the poison on the book.
Okay, and I kind of tuck it in.
Makes complete sense to you now that he says that.
And I just tuck it in. I'm like, well, I'm fucked.
Hmm.
All right. So for
Okay,
those just joining
touch
us,
base.
one of them has been. Nathan told them that one of them has been poisoned, and they have till sunrise to figure out who it is. And he gave them a vial and a ruby, and that's where they're at right now. Okay.
Stisk, you can. Are you guys taking the ruby or no?
I'll take the ruby.
No, I will take the ruby.
Yeah.
I will take the ruby, and I will make sure that we watch it so that we'll make sure if it changes color, I'll know.
To be fair,
Uh,
Vorag already has it in his hand.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, we'll then Borg, you hold on to it. But we're gonna take the ruby.
I'll no.
What?
You should take
wanna
the
take it?
too.
Take the what? You want us to take the antidote too?
Yeah.
Okay, and I give.
I
give
was
it
gonna
to
say
Vor.
I would hold on to it, but that tiny vial in my hands might be a bad choice.
Yeah, no. Okay, we'll take Vor.
agree.
I'll give. Yeah, Vor.
Can I just take a look at the vial real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to write down what it looks like and just like that.
So it is a small glass vial.
Okay.
As you look at it, you can tell that it's not actually glass; it's crystal. And if
Uh-huh.
you ask somebody like Tiny, she will tell you that crystal is better at keeping certain arcane elements contained than glass. And that it's very common for things like this to be in crystal if it can
What's
be.
the liquid look like?
The liquid is it's like an acid green, but it's got this smoky, I don't know what the word for it is, texture. It looks like smoke more so than
Okay.
liquid. And it's very
So it's like
acid
there's just
green.
smoke flowing through it as well.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And the cork top is sealed with what you assume is
Have any
wax.
writing on it?
No, it does not.
Damn.
All right, I'm gonna go see if I can find an apothecary around here.
Okay.
What if you just pass out and we can't find you?
I'll be
Give me
back
one
before what's the word I'm looking for? He said
Before
we
you
have
die?
till dusk. Yeah, I'll be back here before I die. I'll be back here before dusk.
Just, I don't know if that's a good idea.
What?
I mean, what if something happens to him? Is that really? Is this really
something
ideal?
happens
He's the
to
one
him.
poisoned.
If I end up dead, there's not much you guys can do for me anyways.
Well, we don't know what it's gonna do to you.
He disappears all the time.
That's true. Okay.
I've
fine.
come
Alright,
back so far.
Alright.
But then
He's
might
got a
not
point.
come back.
He has come back so far.
But then when you don't come back,
Then you don't have to worry about me.
That means he
Yeah.
found someone else to follow. Or he fell on the stairs.
Why would you mention the stairs?
my head hurts.
Regardless, I'm gonna go over there.
Xander,
let's go.
Xander, remember, guard Kyler, okay? All you need to think about, okay?
Yes.
Okay. And if something hurts him, you can punch it, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I want you to punch it really hard if it hurts him, okay?
Okay, when do we meet up?
Should we meet up in 2 hours, 3 hours? I don't know. I don't know
What?
what to do.
So it's noon right now.
So
It's about
let's go
high
back
noon right now.
We're gonna go down at dawn. Whoever it ends up is gonna end up dead at dawn. Dusk. That'll still give us 6 to 8 more hours, and that gives us 6 hours to look.
True.
Because my math is terrible right now.
I can't math.
Yeah. So, well, no. So it's noon now. You assume that Nick, I hate you. You assume that one of you is going to go down at sunrise tomorrow, which is around like 6-ish in the morning.
Okay.
So you've got a substantial amount of time, potentially, before one of you dies or does not die.
Before stuff happens, potentially.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
Oh, you two. I point to Tiny and Vorag. You
Yes.
should also possibly check with some of those other elves that aren't elves that other elves don't like. What are they called again?
Drow.
Drow.
Yeah, those ones.
Drow. Okay.
They're supposed to be good with poison.
Tiny.
And then
Okay.
That sounds
turn.
racist.
We're going to the library. Why don't you
Sounds
guys? do that?
racist?
I've got it. Tiny.
That was the point.
Yes.
Remember those lights you made for the drinking contest?
Yeah.
How far can you send those?
I can't send them that far.
Do you have anything that you can send that won't get us in a shit ton of trouble?
No. Sadly, I cannot.
Anybody here? Can anybody do that?
My lights have to be within a
Nope.
certain radius.
No one can do that. Okay, because I was
No.
gonna say
We
if
could
anybody
just
has a
have Xander
way.
yell really loudly.
Xander, how loud can you yell?
No.
Don't
let's
do
not-
it!
No. let's just-
You guys look around as this man howls as loud as possible like a wolf, and everybody in the Great Hall kind of just stops doing what they're doing mid-drink, mid-eating, mid-everything.
How about if somebody finds something, they find Xander, he makes that noise, and we should hear it, and we all meet back here if someone finds information.
Very well.
Doesn't that only work with him?
Well, with this Tin Man guy.
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna go find an apothecary.
6 hours, we meet back
All
at
right.
the rooms.
Yes, burn more time.
I walk towards the youngest group in the room.
I follow him.
All right, where are we going,
All right.
Tiny?
We're going to the library. Let's go.
To the books.
All right. So, Kyler, I mean, it takes you a second. Like, you kind of like stand up and look around. You're not trying to act panicked or anything like that. To you, anything with pointy ears looks real young. It's real hard to tell.
You're gonna get in a lot of trouble, mister.
There are some humans sitting at a far table that look to be extremely young. You would assume around like 17, 18. And they are
I go
with
to them.
a tabaxi. You go to
There's
them?
taxis now?
Yes. All right, yeah. So you walk on over to these essentially teenagers, and they kind of like look up at you, and then they immediately turn back to like the parchment that's unfolded in front of them. The tabaxi looks at you and says, yes.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you're all fully fledged members of the Red Ivy?
You could say that, yeah.
I would like to inquire about the tests that you had to go through.
Well, I had to steal something. What'd you have to do? And he points to the tabaxi points to one of the youngest looking guy there. And he goes, I don't. My brother was a member of the order, and I kind of just followed him here, and they didn't kick me out. And then they look at you and they're like, why? What do you have to do?
Cure the poison of someone in my group, because apparently they have poisoned us.
Oh. Well, good luck.
Thank you for your enthusiasm.
Absolutely. And they immediately pour back down on this parchment that they've got in between them.
Did you find out who's poisoned?
Their minds. Let's go.
Okay.
All right. Tiny, you walk towards the bar, and then you realize you don't know where the library is.
Oh, fuck.
Shouldn't you have like a sixth sense for just finding massive amounts of books by now?
It's a big ass keep, bro.
Let's go to what's her face.
Inris?
What is her name again? Let's go to Vor. Let's go to Inris because I actually have no idea where the library is.
You do get the sense, before you go that far out, you do get the sense that the library would be within the actual main keep in the mountain and not in the village below.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anyone nearby?
Yeah, there's plenty of people in the Great Hall.
Then I'll walk up to someone and ask them in common where the library would be located.
They kind of like give you a shifty eye or whatever, and then you like look at them, like look around you, and if you like follow their eyes, you can see them look and find Nathan, and Nathan kind of just nods at them, and they're like, follow me. And she leads you to a door at the end of the hall, on the left-hand side.
This is Enigmas, though, right?
No. This is still in the Great Hall.
Okay.
And she opens it and leads you down this like stairwell that seems to be actually taking you deep into the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
As you walk down the stairs, it gets a little narrower, and then eventually it plateaus out and opens into this huge like cavern, essentially. And this entire cavern is nothing but a library.
Sweet.
With like there's stalactites and stuff like that, but there's like shelving units built around the stalactites and in between them and stuff like that. You can tell they just took the natural architecture of the cavern and used it for what they want. Towards the center of the cavern, there is actually, go ahead and roll perception, both of you.
Okay.
I noticed nothing.
No. You both notice it because it's pretty impossible not to notice. But there is a large glass cube in the center. And you can see like
It's the Tesseract.
books and stuff on the inside and like shelves and stuff on the inside. You can't see a door in or out. And Tiny, you can see a couple people actually like sitting at a desk, like exchanging parchments between each other on the inside of that cube.
Okay.
I'll ask the person that led us here, what's that? And just point at the cube.
She kind of just looks at you, and then she walks off.
Ugh.
Oh joy.
She's helping.
Is there any kind of like head librarian looking area that I would be able to notice?
Not that you can notice. It seems like the way this is set up seems to be like a collection. Like when they find books, they bring it back, and there's no like rhyme or reason to if you can check one out or bring it back in. Tiny's kind of freaking out. Like there's no order.
Oh boy.
There's all these
Four.
books here, and there's no order.
4.
Huh.
4.
Yes. Yeah.
I have
Second biggest library you've ever been in, other than the college in Delft.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I love seeing knowledge, mass amounts of it,
Yeah.
I want to set it on fire! What is
No.
this organization? 4!
Yeah.
Help me! Hold my hand right now
Yeah.
before I fucking throw a fireball, I swear to God.
Yep. I'm just gonna hold her tiny little hands in my hands.
Yep. For sure.
And then I'm going to. Is there anyone I can notice that's just at one of the shelves?
I mean, yeah, there's a couple people. It's not nearly as like busy or anything like that. It's extremely quiet and stuff. But there's a couple people that are like sitting at desks in between like shelving and stuff like that that aren't inside that glass cube that are just like sitting there.
Everything's
All right.
so disorganized.
Then
There's no
I'll,
organization
I'll-
whatsoever. How are you supposed to find a book in this? How are we supposed to find a cure? One of us is gonna die. I don't even know what to do.
And while she's doing that, I'm just gonna walk up to the nearest person and quietly ask them if they know where any books on poisons are.
This person looks up at you.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's such an odd request. I don't know of any books on poisons per se. Usually the books on like flowers and nature and all that kind of shit is this way. And she like points behind her into like one of the back corners. She's like, you might just want to go see the alchemist or even maybe the herbalist.
How far away would those be?
They both live in the village. Well, the alchemist lab is here in the keep, but the herbalist's hut and garden is in the village for sure. I can give you her name. I don't really speak with the alchemist. He's kind of a dick.
I would prefer the alchemist if it can be helped.
Oh, I don't know the alchemist's name.
Do you know where the lab is at?
No, I don't go down there.
All right, thank you. And then I will move on to the next person and ask them if they know where the alchemist lab is located.
Yep, go ahead and roll investigation. Stisk, what are you doing?
I am looking for an apothecary, somebody who they would go to for instances like this. So yeah, I'm gonna go up to Nathan. I'm gonna be like, do you know? Can you point me in the direction of the apothecary?
He says, we don't really have an apothecary here. We do have an herbalist.
This seemed more magical in nature. Would they deal with quote-unquote magical poisons?
Made no harm in asking, right?
If they don't work out, who else can I talk to?
I don't know. There's always the alchemist. He's kind of a dick, though.
All right, I'll make that my second quest. Can you put me in the direction of the herbalist?
Yeah, the herbalist is Seeth. She lives in the village.
Where?
So he kind of like it describes to you where she lives. Like if you go down to the city square and you go down to that pond that they took a bath in last night or whatever, and you cross that river, eventually you'll see this huge hut with like a massive garden in front of it, and you really
How long of a
can't
walk is that
miss
going to
it.
be?
It's gonna take you a time.
And how far away is the alchemist?
Well, actually, now that I think about it, he's not really the alchemist. The person you'd want to speak with is probably Dila.
And where can I find them?
It's kind of hard to determine where Dila would be, to be honest.
where do they frequent?
Well, you can always try the alchemy lab. She might be there. She could be in the library as well.
Okay,
He
where
points
is
out-
that?
Like he points out, he describes it to you. Like the third door on the left side of the keep goes down to the library, and the second door on the left-hand side of the keep branches out into a bunch of different hallways once you go down it. And the alchemy lab is down there. And he kind of like draws you a little map.
All right, I'm gonna head to the alchemist.
Okay. What did you roll for? 7.
7, so not well.
It's taken. Are you helping at all, Tiny, or are you just mumbling to yourself?
I'm just kind of mumbling right now. Like I'm looking around and I'm trying to focus on like trying to find like anything like poison related, and I'm just like.
Trying to not hyperventilate.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't get very. There's only like a couple other people that you see in here that you can talk to, other than the people that are inside that glass cube. Both of you roll perception again, by the way.
Okay.
I am not very perceptive.
Good job, Fora.
Who the fuck is my? I just
Hey. All right, Tiny. As you're looking at that glass cube as you walk by it, and you're looking in, you notice that it's not glass. It's some type of actual force field is the best way to describe it. There's definitely a magical element that's surrounding that, but it's not just like a sheet of glass. As you look on the center where the stairs that lead up to the little like leveled plateau that it's on both sides there is a red rose with a white, like the 5 petals that are in the center are white, and it's like a effigy, I guess is the right word, on the wall. You get that that's probably maybe the door on how you get in. You're not sure. As you guys are walking around, Vorag, you find another person that just straight doesn't talk to you, but you kind of get the impression that they might not be able to talk. You're not really sure. It's kind of weird.
All right.
And then you talk to another person who is in fact a drow.
All right.
And he looks up at you and says, honestly, I'm not sure, but if it's anything lethal, it's probably somewhere in that glass cube. Good luck getting in.
Can I ask him a hint as how to get in?
I don't know. I'm not allowed.
Oh.
4.
Well, I guess we walk up to the cube.
Well, but he doesn't know where the door is, but I do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious, like, because so the center of that
Okay.
glass cube is like a wooden platform, and there's 2 little
Yeah.
sets of stairs that lead down to either side of the cube. So it's obvious where there would be a door if there was a door. There just isn't one
Okay.
there.
Wait, I let Vor know like where I'm pretty sure the door
Mhm.
is in the
Mhm.
cube. But
All right.
so would I have recognized any type of? Does it just look like a basic force field, like something like there's no like specific color, no
Nope.
like specific
It's
like?
clear like glass, but it shimmers, and you can tell that it's not a physical object. And as you look at that rose, that effigy, that's like where you assume the door is, it looks
Mhm.
like legit rose petals. But that doesn't make any sense because nothing's holding it there. And the petals aren't wilted or anything like that.
Can I touch it? Or is it
You
inside
can
the force
certainly try.
I mean, I was gonna
I
attempt
want.
to touch it.
I want to touch it. I want to touch it.
Okay.
All right, then.
Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Jesus
Hey.
Christ.
Or Wisdom, whichever is higher for you.
No.
You immediately feel a searing pain in your hand. It like shocks you and you fall off of Vorag's shoulders. Take a point
Oh.
of damage.
Ow. Ow.
As that happens, one of the
Ow.
people that are sitting at that center desk kind of look up and over to you because it does like make a noise. they kind of look up and over you, and you notice one of them just smirk at you, and then like they're back at their desk, and another one of them stands up and slowly starts walking over to you.
Knowledge is power.
All right. At that point, I'll pick up Tiny and I'll do the thing
Uh-huh.
because why not?
So you're gonna touch it too?
No. I'm doing my
Oh,
class.
yeah.
So it should just be. Gotta go pull it up. Give me a second.
I can't remember. The flower that lady gave me, it's not the same as the one on the door, correct?
No, it is not.
Okay.
The flower that the dryad gave you is like a lily or something.
Okay.
You have seen this
Alright.
flower though before. You're the only one that noticed it, in fact.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna
Can
roll that
I
real quick.
do I know anything else about like the flower? Like, because all that you've told me that I know is that it's a flower.
Right. So you know that, and then you know that this was the flower that was on Cyrilla's chest piece.
But yeah, 15. So Tiny feels great.
Yeah, you feel super refreshed.
Vor.
Yeah?
Thank you. My hand doesn't hurt anymore. I don't know what you did, but thank you.
I didn't do nothing.
Uh-huh. Anyways. So the flower that's on there, on the door,
Mhm.
matches the one that Cyrilla, you said? That's her name?
Yes, the woman that came
Cyrilla,
out to
yeah.
talk to that.
Cyrilla had on her cloak. So it would probably be safe to say that this ward or this shield is only accessible if, I don't know, if it was like maybe her or maybe something she's holding. Am I wrong, or am I like?
I mean,
is it to make that assumption?
No,
or...
you would absolutely make that assumption. Yeah.
Okay.
You get the feeling that this is a closed area to people, only certain maybe people, maybe her, maybe an object. As you're discussing this,
Yep.
the woman that was standing at the desk and was walking towards you when she touched it, walks through the essentially glass in front of you, and it kind of just shimmers around her, and then she walks through. Go ahead and roll perception, both of you. Boy, buddy.
I'm not very perceptive. It's okay.
So you notice that she is a human woman. She's wearing like leather type armor. You can't really discern much about it, but one of her fasteners is that same rose. And she looks at both of you and she's like, as you can probably clearly tell, this area is not for normal people. Can I help you?
Clearly. Yes, you could. We're looking for books, if you have any, in regards to certain poisons.
Preferably magic poisons. Poisons?
Poisons.
Poisons.
She kind of looks at you and chuckles a little bit.
And I go, I'm sure you recognize, recognize this, and I kind of nudge for to pull out the vial and the ruby.
Yep.
She kind of like squints at it for a little while. And she says, give me a moment. And then she turns around and walks back inside the glass cube. Dahlhan and Nick, what are you guys doing?
Heading
I'm
down to
following
the
this
village.
guy. Following that guy down to the village.
Okay. What is your plan at the village?
I'm gonna talk to the barkeep lady. whatever.
Inris?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So in the time that it took them to talk to this woman, you definitely have made it back to the inn.
Okay.
Oh, are we
she's
going
here?
to eat? I'm hungry.
Yes, you can sit down and eat.
All right, so you sit down at the table. What do you do, Kyler?
I sit down and I wait for her to come over to us.
Yeah, and she, as bubbly as ever, walks right over and says, "How can I help you, boys? Wait, where's the rest of you?"
Wait
Well,
a
we're,
minute. What did you
we're
put in our
invest-
food?
Oh god.
Put what? What did I put in
And
your
it
food?
begins.
It's her. Kyler, I know it.
I mean-
How do you know this?
Well, we all ate the food, and something. They put something in our food.
I mean, she would have to know about it.
She might have done it.
Well, why don't you ask her then?
I just did.
I mean, I put like salt and
Salt,
rosemary.
That's
and-
what it is. No, that makes it taste.
Salt is a seasoning.
You do the talking.
No, you have this completely under control. I believe in you.
Bring me an ale, please.
Inris looks at you and she kind of just like shakes her head and she looks at Kyler and she says, anything else?
Yeah, just wondering if you've ever heard of people on trial being poisoned as part of their tests.
Well, to be honest, you're the first group that's come as a part of this. Scouting, I assume, would be the word. Whatever. Either which way, you're the first new group of people that's been here for quite a while. And the
So
order
people
is,
just are born into the order at this point, then?
no, they are picked or sought out usually for very specific skills or reasons.
Is it the first time it's a group?
Yes, they were specifically looking for a group. I know that much. I think they wanted a self-sufficient group of people. But I'm not.
Would you happen to
sure.
have... No. Would you happen to know anybody who would have antidotes or would know about poisons?
Well, the only person that I would know of that can make an antidote for sure would be Seath.
Who's that?
Well, she is a wood elf. She lives on the other side of the village.
Like the
She's
spider?
kind of... No. Like an elf.
Xander.
Anyways, she her story is actually kind of interesting. She was collecting herbs and it was late and she asked if she could stay the night here. And Sarim and Falkir decided that she could stay in the herbalist hut for the night. And when they woke up in the morning, they assumed that she was gone, but she was actually preparing the gardens. And she kind of just decided to make that her home. And they kind of just like let her. That's how she became a member of the order, if you can consider her a member. She's really just like the village herb person.
So they said that she could stay there and she took it literally.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
She's a very, very nice woman, though.
Not as nice as you, I'm sure. Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. Did you want an ale or anything?
No, can you watch him
wait,
for me
whoa,
when you drink?
oh.
I'm gonna go meet this nice
Watch
elf.
him?
What was her name again?
Seethe.
Steve.
Mm-hmm.
That should be
Oh
too bad.
no, Tiny said I'd go with you.
No, you stay here, rest your feet. That was a lot of stairs. You just have some ale and relax.
Can I take it to go? Is that a thing?
She
Can I drink?
she looks at you and says, "You can certainly leave with it."
Bring me two then.
And she comes back with two things of ale.
Oh,
Anything else?
I thought she was nice.
she is
She
nice
is-
lady.
She is nice.
Seems super nice to me.
Was there anyone suspicious back there this morning?
Back
talking
where?
to?
Other
Yeah.
than the kitchen?
No. Not
Okay.
at all.
Let's go.
All right, so you guys leave. Stisk.
Which way is the
On the other
bird
side of the
lady?
village.
Yeah, the
Oh.
other, yeah.
I missed that.
Stisk. So you carefully follow the map that was provided to you by Nathan. Only getting lost like once.
Yes.
Like running into like a dormitory or something and then being like, no, there's a left somewhere. Like turning back around. But you eventually stumble into a room with a bunch of stone tables. And then like a stone counter across the entire back section of the room. And that stone counter is filled with copper basins and like crystal vials and flasks and little Bunsen burners, all kinds of stuff. And you're immediately like, yeah, this has got to be it for sure. But when
Do
you
I
walk in
see
there, you
anybody
don't
there?
see anybody. Nope.
Do I, let me just roll an investigate real quick to see if I see anything that is magical. As soon as I can find it. Investigation.
It's all magical to you, buddy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm gonna be like, I need an alchemist right now, and only the best will do.
As you say that, a woman appears from behind one of the stone tables. A tiny bit shorter than tiny. A small female gnome.
Hello, my name is Stisk, and who might you be?
I'm Della. How can I help you?
Hi, Della. I've heard that you are a source of information from here. Nathan told me to talk to you about some poisons of magical nature.
One really wouldn't. It seems crude to use magic to poison somebody
Okay.
when you can kill them
So-
so much more efficiently with magic.
Right. But how would I best go about determining if myself or others were poisoned before?
A
any symptoms show
gemstone
up?
with a nulas. And then she walks you over to like a little cabinet and opens it up, and inside there is a couple small rubies. And she says, these will turn white if well, actually, I'm sorry. Right now that they're like a milky white, you can tell that they're rubies, but they've got this like weird haze on the inside of them. And she says, if there's a person among you that's poisoned, these will turn back to look like normal rubies. They'll turn right when there's no poisons detected near them.
Okay. And how close in proximity do they need to be to go off? Like, would I have to hold it up against someone's chest, or do I just need to be in like the same room as them?
It's probably about 20 feet, 30 feet.
20, 30
It
feet.
really depends on the alchemist who crafted the stone.
Okay, and how would I go about obtaining one of these stones?
Well, you could make one. You would need to know your way around all the tools. I suppose you could buy one if you found an alchemist who was willing to sell them. They're not exactly easy to make, though, so I can't
What
imagine
if
they would be
I
cheap.
were to return it after I was done with it?
Unfortunately, I can't give you anything unless you're in the order.
Okay, I think that'll work. Let me just write all that information down real quick
Mhm.
and see if I can find the others.
Okay.
Are you going to be here for a while?
I'm pretty much always in here.
You're always here. All right. Thank you very much, Delia. You've been a huge help.
Certainly. And she kind of like
Alright.
bows down to you. Her voice like squeaks when she says certainly.
Okay, I'm going to go see if I can find Vor and Tiny.
Dope. All right. Back to Vorag and Tiny.
Hey,
Hey.
So the woman turned around and walked back into the crystal. You notice that once she walks, like you can hear her footsteps shuffling on the stone. Once she walks onto the stairs and like through the crystal, you can't hear her anymore at all. She's gone for a couple minutes. You see her like walking over to a shelf and pulling a couple things down. Do you guys do or say anything?
I mean, are we close to
Sorry,
any
Crunchy.
books?
I'm like watching her attentively.
What did you say for it?
Are we close to any books?
I mean, yeah, you're essentially like there's a couple bookshelves behind you.
I'm gonna be right back for like 2 or 3 minutes.
Then
Yep.
I will randomly go grab a book written Primordial and read that.
In Primordial?
Yes.
Roll investigation.
Don't make me do this, please. Please.
You look for a book written in Primordial.
No.
All right.
I don't
So-
know what primordial looks like, do I? Yeah, like looks, not can't read it, but like looks.
you do, yeah, you probably know what it looks like.
Can I do like? Do I do a history check or a perception or?
I
what
mean,
do I do?
if he tells you that he's looking for it,
Can
then you
I like
help
tell
him
what he's
roll.
looking for? Like,
I mean, no, like as far as you're concerned, he's like looking for a book. You just don't know like
Uh-huh.
what he's looking for.
for?
Hmm?
What are you trying to look for?
I'm looking for a book in Primordial.
Why on earth would you need that right now?
Also, it's kind of weird that he can
Yeah.
even speak that.
I'm not doing anything else.
Oh, I find it weird that he can speak it.
Or that he can read it, yeah.
So you want a book in primordial?
Yeah.
We mean, yeah. Do you, I don't even know primordial. How the fuck did you like? How do you know? How can you read primordial?
Well, I mean, I can read any language.
What?
Yeah.
And you didn't think to tell me this at all?
No one asked.
Okay,
Fair.
hold on.
Fair.
Can I
Roll
can I see
investigation.
about helping him?
yeah.
Okay. Well.
There's
Wait,
a
would
lot
I
of-
use investigation or would I use history?
You'd use investigation because you're actually physically looking for.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'm no help. Sorry.
That's okay. To be fair, I'm basically just browsing the shelf while we're waiting.
Okay. All right, so yeah, it takes probably about a good like 10 minutes or so, and then she turns around, you notice, and starts walking back towards you. Again, the crystal wall like shimmers around her as she comes out, and she looks at you, Tiny, and she says, "Here, this book isn't to leave this room."
This room is in like the library, or like this
Yes,
room is
the
in, like...
library.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to double check, of course.
Mhm. And if anybody asks, I didn't give it to you.
Done.
Didn't give me what?
Right. She turns around.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm like, war. Let's find a quiet place somewhere in amongst these bookshelves to sit.
All right.
Yep, which is
So I
super
wanna-
easy to do.
So I go and I sit down on like a stack of books,
Uh-huh.
like, so I can like be at like level with Boar when he sits.
Okay. And you open it up so that we like
Mhm.
on the table so you can both see it. It is
Mhm.
written in Elvish,
All right.
which I believe both of you speak.
Which-
I can read all writing, so
I know you
only
can.
know- I don't think. Well, I don't know if I can. I don't think we talked about that. I don't think I can.
Let me
Maybe.
hold on.
I don't.
Looks like
my
Thor's gonna be
person
reading it to
doesn't
you.
have it. Like my person doesn't have it, but I know we hadn't like fixed it, so that's why I was like, I didn't touch
Oh
anything.
yeah, there's no way that
So I don't know
will
if-
to you. You would probably know Elvish because it's kind of
Yeah.
like yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so we're both reading it.
Yep. You're both looking at it. As you look through it, you realize that it is like it's like a history on poisonings and assassinations through poison.
Okay.
And it explains a lot of different ways that like kings and regents and all kinds of different things have been killed before. And like, the uses of nightshade and almonds that are crushed into like a fine powder and then defused to become cyanide, and like all these crazy things that you've never even really thought of. It mentions the Neela's arcane rubies, and how they will turn white if they're away from the poison and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so it talks about rubies and
That if
What again?
they're away from the poison, they'll have that milky, whitish hue to
White.
them.
Okay.
Um,
Vor.
Huh?
Oh, is that all it says?
No, go ahead.
Vor, look.
Huh? Yeah.
It talks about the ruby right here.
Huh. I'm just gonna hold it up. What color is it?
It's white-ish.
It's whitish?
Yep.
Okay.
It is not like a crystalline ruby like it was the first time you saw it.
Maybe we should try. Okay, how big is this library? Pretty big, right?
It's a cavern in a mountain. It's huge.
Okay, I wanna I was like, okay, Vor, you hold the ruby.
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk several bookcase shelves, I guess, like
Mm-hmm.
a good distance.
Mm-hmm.
Because are we near like the front door? So I'm just gonna walk. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And tell me if it turns whiter. Okay, or it changes like if it I don't know, I guess if it gets more milky. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm walking.
All right.
Walking
Yeah.
down
You
the aisle of book.
and the ruby
Okay.
doesn't change. It stays the consistent like milky hazy color.
Okay.
It's
and-
definitely
okay,
a
so-
noticeable difference than it was
so-
on the table.
Oh, it's definitely no. So it doesn't change or it does?
No. So it doesn't change from you walking further away,
Okay.
but just like the whitish like milkiness in the stone is a definite
Mhm.
difference from.
From what previously was when we were all
Mhm.
together. Okay. So I use the spell minor illusion because I'm pretty far away. And I is there a way to like throw my voice
It-
with minor illusion?
And it's more like amplifying.
Okay, fine. I'm amplifying. Four! Did it change color yet?
No, it's the same color.
I can't hear you! Hold on, I'm coming back right now!
Yep.
You hear I'm, like running as fast as I can. Like tiny little pit, 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 pit.
And
Okay.
yeah, the stone didn't change.
So, did it change color?
No, it's the same milky white color.
Fuck. Shoot, I mean, pixie sticks. Huh.
I mean,
Give it to me.
Okay.
Okay. Your
Yeah.
turn.
Okay.
Gonna. Yeah. Go.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
mention that
So,
I'm gonna
like, hold
stay
it.
within sight so that you can give me either a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
No, I just want him to keep going. I tell him, I go, no. I was like, go. No.
All right.
Farther away, the better. Go.
Yeah, well,
I'll be right here.
I
I
start
like-
walking.
I like lean on the tower of books, and I'm just leaning, and my back is like on the tower of books. I'm just laying there with like my legs and arms like flailed, like okay.
And yeah, I'm just gonna stride on through the shelves.
Yep. And he
And
continues.
I'm holding it, and I'm like looking at it as I'm like panting over like the books.
It doesn't change.
Is it changing?
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wait for a little bit, so then he kind of gets the hint, and then he comes back.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Okay.
Didn't change color.
Okay, so it's
But-
probably not us.
I mean, from this book, she said it can't leave the room, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
take some notes. So I get out my little book or my little notepad or whatever and shit,
Mhm.
and I start writing these notes down.
Okay.
Okay.
So you get a list of poisons that, if they were ingested, would take like 24-ish hours to kill you.
Okay.
Um,
Does it
one-
mention a specific one that corresponds with rubies, or no? Is
Nope.
it just in general?
The ruby
Okay.
is kind of like a see-all.
Yeah. Okay.
So it mentions nightshade, and it gives you like a dosage for it. It also mentions shrieker spores.
Okay.
Like a concentration of like lilac and stuff,
Does
like
it
a bunch of different
show,
plants mixed up.
Does it show the antidotes?
It doesn't like show a picture of the antidotes or anything like
No,
that.
but like reads them. Like, does it read the antidote? Like, does it say like the antidote in the book?
Usually, yeah. For the nightshade and the lilac stuff, it will, it's mostly like drink water and like it's a bunch of like homeopathic stuff.
Okay, so I
Eating a
write
little
that
bit of
down, too.
wolfsbane and stuff. And then for the shrieker spore one, it is a giant scorpion. It's basically like the same homeopathic thing, but you have to add giant scorpion venom
Okay,
into
I
it.
write that all down. But we have an antidote, so. But I still want to write it
Eventually.
down.
Mhm.
Okay.
We think it's an antidote.
4. We need to find Kyler and Xander.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. We gotta give this book back though.
Yeah.
So I like get back on his shoulder and
And we go to
Like
give the
holding
book
the
back.
book.
Okay.
do we find her? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she's sitting there, and
I give her the book back and I like set it on there. I go, here you go. Thank you very
she
much.
kind of just like nods at you and then turns back. They're having like some type of heated discussion.
Oh, I wanted to ask her a question.
Oh, I mean, if you stand there, she'll eventually like notice that you standing there, and she'll get up to walk over to you.
Okay.
And she
Let me ask her a
says,
question.
"Yes, thank you for not leaving with it."
Thank you for going into the off limits room and acquiring it for us. We really appreciate the help.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Um,
good luck.
I do have one question, if you
Mhm.
wouldn't mind indulging. How do you gain access to that special library? Obviously, not everybody that is a part of the Red Ivy can access it.
She looks at you, and she kind of like roll insight.
Okay. Did you write that insight? Boom. Fuck.
It's really hard to read her face, like period.
Mhm.
She kind of looks at you, and then she says, Malin and Idun, and she turns around and walks back into the thing.
Melon and Idun. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. So you can
I
read
kinda, like-
Elvish.
Uh-huh.
I
So
don't.
what
You
Oh, I
only
can't- I
have
can
two
read it, but I
languages.
can't
You wouldn't
understand
be
it.
able to speak it.
Okay.
However,
Uh-huh.
if you write that down, like
Yeah.
as
I
like
wanna write it
phonetically
down.
as possible, you kind of like stare at it for a while, and you pick out the word rose and the
The something rose.
like something rose. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I write that down and I like circle it like really big.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now that she's written it down, I'd like to look at it, see if I can get anything else from it.
From what she's written down.
Yeah.
After you stare at it for quite a while because it's written completely wrong, like because she spelled it phonetically, and Elfish is just one of those languages.
Yeah.
It translates out to what you assume is Circle of the Rose.
I will lightly mumble that to Tiny.
Mm-hmm.
What for?
That's circle of the rose.
Circle of the. How on earth did you get circle from that?
I just you wrote it phonetically, not
Oh. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I kind of like. I kind of like turn to
Yeah.
the side and kind of like scribble out and try to respell it again. But I write down circle of the the circle of the rose
Yeah.
like down. Okay, very well. Okay, excellent.
Yep.
We have to go find Kyler and Styx and Xander.
Yeah.
So we're not affected. We're not affected by it, as far as we know.
Yeah. Just in
and
case,
from
we
what-
should watch
and-
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we are off to go find
The wizard. Got it.
Xander and Kyler. Off to see the
Yeah.
wizard, the wonderful wizard
wonderful
of
wizard.
Oz.
All right, Xander and Kyler, you have made it to the outside of a very lush garden and a stone hut. Sorry, like a little bit into the garden's interior. It's the
Sure
only
you don't
building
want
here
this
that's
other
got like a
ale?
grass roof and stuff.
Sure you want this other drink, Kyler? Still holding the 2 drinks.
Just drink it. I'm gonna walk into the room or the house.
More for me. She'll wait out here.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
oh,
don't
okay.
step on any plants.
Oops. Was there like a garden outside?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
house is inside, essentially like a garden.
Kyler's on the trail. It's like walking through.
Yeah. So you walk up to the house and you're able to knock on the door without any issues. After you knock on the door, a couple minutes pass by, and then the door opens to a very, very pretty wood elf. She's got this like glow about her, even though like elves are known for being like extremely like porcelain skinned and no flaws and all that kind of stuff. Like she's got like dirt on her nose and like this like light
Druid.
ashen blonde. Yes, she's super druid. This ashen
Man.
blonde hair.
I
And
thought he
like,
said ruined.
oh, I thought
I
he said
did.
druid. My bad. Anyways, she's super druid. But she's extremely, extremely pretty. And she looks at you and she's like, "Hello? I've never seen you before. How can I help you?"
Hello.
Oh Jesus.
See, but I have to ask.
Do you want the
Because
drink
you're
now?
Do you want the drink now?
Yeah, no. Wait. What was War saying?
I said
Or-
he's racist, so I want to see how this goes down.
Doesn't mean I can't flirt.
Roll persuasion. Just right now.
Boom.
He's like Johnny Bravo, but racist.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How you doing there, mama? I'll
She
take
looks
this
at
to
you
magic.
Oh my
and
god.
she kind of just smiles and she says, "Yes, how can I help you?" Yeah, how can I help you? My name is
I
Seath.
hear you have knowledge relating to poisons and antidotes.
If it came from the ground, I can probably help you, yes. Do you know what type of poison it was? Was it cyanide or nightshade? Lilacs?
Apparently, it was somehow ingested by one of our members of the group this morning as a part of a test, and we're investigating who it might be and how we were poisoned to begin with.
Well, which one of you is sick?
So far, no one.
We'll find out in the morning.
They die, according to Nathan.
That's
Do you
very
have any
interesting.
tests or ways of identifying? Do you have a means of detecting poison? That would be extremely handy.
I can just imagine him just like leaning, like on.
Oh, I'm totally like reaching up to
Mhm.
the top of the doorway and leaning in.
She kind of like takes a half step back, like when you lean in. She's like, "Well, you're more than welcome to bring your group here, and we can try some things. Although, usually the sickness is what gives off the poison. Some are very subtle, though, and this is a keep known for extremely skilled people."
I'm
Well,
curious to
the-
know what Xander's doing in all this.
The antidote looks kind of like acid.
Standing behind him,
Hmm.
drinking my 2 beers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
she's,
could just picture him just like drinking profusely, like some of like the ale or whatever dribbling down his face as he's just staring off at him, watching him.
at one point, she's kind of like looked around and like looked at him and just been like,
I
and-
waved.
I'm Kyle, by the way, and that's Xander. And
Right. My name is Seath. Well, like I said, you're more than welcome to bring them here, and we can see if we can make anything happen. You said the
All right.
antidote looked like what?
acid. Green, vicious, that word.
Viscous.
That one.
Viscous.
Interesting. All right.
I
Well,
bit my tongue.
I can see that. Well, don't get stung by any of the bees on your way out.
I've already been stung today. Xander, do the thing, please.
What the?
Oh, there you go.
Huh. Interesting. Well,
It's one of his passions to howl at the moon.
it's the middle of the day, but yes.
He
Great.
might be drunk. Don't mind him.
Drunk on 2. Don't make me laugh.
Well, you gentlemen have a great rest of your day. I'll be here. And she kind of slowly just closes
Oh,
the
we're
door.
just gonna stay here because they should be on their way now.
Great.
Have fun. We'll just wait outside.
And she closes the
Sorry to
door.
bother you.
That went well.
Yeah. She can detect poison, I hope.
Think she really likes you.
I don't think so.
I don't.
No.
All right, give me 1 second here to pull this up.
I think, and I pat Sandra in the back, you were very helpful in this whole ordeal today. Thank you.
Welcome. Sure you want this drink here?
How much of that is your own slobber?
Oh, I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You see the foam up there? That's probably just all much around.
Yeah, you can have it all.
All right. So at this point, Tiny and Vorag, you are back in like the Great Hall area. And Stisk, you are also have now walked back into the Great Hall. Probably at around the
Do
same
I
time.
see Tiny Vorag?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make a beeline right towards him.
Okay. I'm gonna ask: has there been any changes to the gem?
Nope.
All
So
right.
it's still white. So Styx
Yep.
and I, Vor and I, are like all essentially, from what we can tell,
Mm-hmm.
safe. Okay.
Guys, I found down at the alchemist they have a way of detecting if one of us is poisoned. If we go up to these rubies, they will change.
And I hold it up and I'm like, we're not poisoned.
Yeah, but do you know what that is?
What?
Do you know what that ruby is? Do you know if
Yeah.
it that we're
Yeah.
100% certain that's what that that-
Yeah, we
okay.
just went to the library and just read, like, we had somebody get a book in a special area, and we were reading about poisons this whole time. And so
Were
I
you
mean, I've
guys
got the
holding the
notes.
poison when you checked with the ruby? Because maybe the
Holding
poison needs to be away
Poison?
from the antidote, allegedly.
Yeah, we
Oh,
both
yeah.
tested it. Like,
Okay.
we both made sure that I was away from him when he was holding the ruby, and vice versa.
Who was holding the antidote at the time?
Who was
Me.
it? Yeah, Vor was. So, regardless, though, none of us. So, like, it
Okay.
still would work, though.
I don't know if that's the poison or the antidote, because Nathan didn't mention that was exactly the antidote. He just put that on the table.
He said that it was the antidote, though.
No, he didn't. He just put
We
it on the
actually
table.
didn't, now that I think about it.
Well, even
Yeah.
okay. Well, even if it's not the
Tyler
antidote,
said that it
or
was
even-
most likely an antidote with enough.
even if it's not an antidote and it's poison, this little thing would have changed color, though.
That's
again.
true. It would be red.
Can
it's
we go
not.
check that with the alchemist real quick, just so we can see what that is before we find the other two? It should only take like 5-10 minutes.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see no issue with that.
I mean,
Okay, I'm
we-
gonna show
we
her
need
the.
to
I'm gonna
make
show Tiny the map of how to find the alchemist.
Yeah, I mean, you guys walk back to the alchemy lab. It doesn't take very long at all. And when you walk in, you see the gnome woman standing there. This time she's like sitting on a chair at a desk. And she kind of
Hello,
turns
Dila.
around when you walk in. Hi. Who's
Hi,
this?
could you identify this for us potentially?
Hmm.
I hand over the ruby.
She looks at it and then she like pulls out this like jewel crafter's monocle
Mm-hmm.
and you sticks it in her eye and she like stares at it a little bit longer. She's like, yes, this is one of my Nihilus rubies.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry. What?
This ruby will tell you if you're poisoned or not. Clearly, none of us are poisoned.
okay. Can you identify what's in this vial?
Well, I mean, if it was
No.
poison, it would go off, correct?
Yes, it should.
Yeah.
I interject that. I interject.
Right, but this might be one of those poisons that needs something else or to be eaten with or something else. We need to know how to take the antidote as well.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, poisons are not my cup of tea.
So not with that, but so we know what that is. We know what those are. Again, you've been a big help. Let's go find the others.
Mhm.
But
was
it is
that-
her. It is hers.
Yes, she says it's hers.
Okay.
She looks at you and says, "It's nice to see you, dear."
Me?
Mm-hmm. The only other gnome probably in this entire keep.
Oh, yeah. Except for she was in a. You as well. Let me smile back at her.
Mm-hmm. And she kind of like turns around and starts tinkering and stuff.
All right, now we know what those are. Well, we know what the ruby is at least. Let's go find
I
them.
mean, have known.
Okay.
but
We weren't 100% certain.
double
Now we are.
check.
Never hurts.
Let's just go shove potion down one of the two dumbasses.
Hopefully that's.
Or poison. But then
Huh?
again,
Yeah. Worst case scenario, it's Skylar.
it's always him, isn't it? He's
Usually.
got the worst luck.
Usually.
Either he trips over himself or something.
That's probably what it is. He probably tripped into the poison, and Nathan watched like, I can make this into a thing.
Oh my goodness. You
All
know
right.
what? Nathan probably put some like poison in his fucking polish or some shit, so when he was fucking armor super early in the morning. Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Man.
Why am I adventuring with you guys?
You don't hear any of this.
All
You're
right.
sneezing. You can tell somebody's talking about you in the distance.
Yeah.
This
You
isn't
guys-
anime.
You felt a sudden chill.
You guys slowly make your way back to the village. Well, the
Journey
Great Hall
Hall.
first, but then yeah, down to the village.
Would we perhaps hear a howl?
No, not at
Okay.
all. You guys are like inside a mountain,
It doesn't echo through the mountains. Come on.
not like that.
We need to work on this howl.
We
We'll have to
yell.
practice it.
Yeah, so you guys eventually make your way down and to the inn. It takes you probably like another hour or so to get down to the inn.
Do I need to howl again, Kyler?
Sure.
Howl again.
That time you kind of hear something. It sounds like a
It's the Xander signal.
Well, we
Should-
found Xander, so
Yeah.
hopefully if Xander actually listened to me and Skylar will be right next, like Skylar will be right next. Kyler, why did I say Skylar? Kyler will be right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Alright.
aren't we glad I came up with the howling system?
Oh yes.
You guys
Surely.
walk to the direction of the sound of this wolf howling. All right, so as you guys continue to walk, you walk through the village across that little pond Vora that you were at before, and then past that into the other side of the village. You eventually see a hut with a grass roof and a pretty extensive garden, and you see Kyler and Xander sitting outside.
Check the ruby.
Okay, what is the ruby?
The ruby is red.
Someone's poisoned.
Okay, I got this. So, Kyler,
Yeah.
so as far as what Styx, Vor, and I have collectively learned,
Mm-hmm.
we three are not poisoned. And I pulled
Okay.
the ruby. And I said, this has been
It's-
white the whole time we've been around it, all three of us.
And while she's doing that, I'm gonna look at fucking God. What is your
Xander?
character's? Yes, thank you. I could not. I'm gonna look at Xander and say, I'm gonna point back towards the village and I'm gonna say, walk that way for a bit.
Right now.
Yes,
Yes.
right now.
Okay.
It's only going to be about 20 or 30 feet, depending upon the skill of the alchemist. He doesn't need to go that far.
Yeah, that's fine.
We might as well run out his energy, let's be honest here.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like I said, just walk that way.
Xander, what are you? Are you wearing leather? You're unarmed,
I
right?
don't have anything.
Oh God.
So you're just
He has
wearing like,
clothes.
yeah.
It's like he's wearing nothing at all.
So you're just wearing traveler's clothes or what?
I'm a barbarian.
I'm-
Sure. I don't know.
He's probably wearing at least a loincloth.
Yeah.
I'd say you probably have like tattered pants and
Just pants.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, so you walk off.
I run.
Okay, you run
There
off,
he goes.
and once he gets to about 30 feet away, the crystal turns white.
Tiny, can you yell at him to come back?
Can I use minor illusion again?
I believe it's a
Non-battle.
cantrip, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can use it as much as you
Yeah,
want.
I yell. Xander, come on back! We're gonna get some food!
Coming. Run back.
Let's not try to freak him out, guys.
I'm going to whisper in Tiny's ear in Gnomish. You should throw some whistles in there.
Okay.
I'm
throw
gonna
whistles
chuckle
in
at
there.
that because I actually understand Gnomish.
Hey.
Okay.
I throw some whistles in there.
Yep. Got it. I assume you eventually go back?
Go back where?
Xander comes back to you
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm running back.
All right. Yeah, you make it. No problems.
Great
we
job,
show-
Xander.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna hand him the the sticks. I'm gonna
Dwarven
hand
is
him the
not
violet.
gnomish disc.
No.
What? What is this?
Just drink it.
No, I know I had to fix that because that was just the basic language. I'm actually updating
Okay.
it now.
Wait.
I'm gonna drink
Nope.
it.
Wait.
Nope, he's drinking it.
So you drink it, right?
No.
Wait.
They tried to stop me. I stopped.
Oh, come on.
Shouldn't we?
Let's let the
keep-
herbalist who's right behind us in this hut investigate this to make sure it's actually an antidote.
Okay.
Good idea. Thank you.
Okay.
And knock on her door again.
Okay. She opens the door and she kind of looks around and she's like, "Oh,
Hi again.
hi.
Sorry. We're back.
Who are you?
Oh wait, no. This is a different one, right?
You've never met
Yes.
her, yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I don't say that.
This is
We're back.
We'd like you to.
Actually, we never left. We're kind of just out here.
He knows. Anyway, I take the vial from Xander and I hold it over to the herbalist. Could you identify this for us, please?
Wait, so I'm poisoned?
We
Yeah.
don't know. We're trying to figure that out right
We're
now.
trying to figure that out, Xander, sweetie, okay? But we need you to sit still, okay?
What did I eat? Then?
In all
It's okay.
seriousness, it would probably take me quite a while to determine exactly what this is.
Quite a while, as in like how long?
As in probably a good 3 to 4 hours.
That's
It
fine, we
takes
have
time to
time.
That's
diffuse.
fine.
Well, how much? What time is it right now? Like, 'cause
It is
it
about.
was noon when we.
It's probably getting to like dinner time. Between all the walking and like, yeah.
Do you think that tiny little vial will cure me?
Yeah.
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna see, Xander.
Antidote.
How am I
Just wanna
feeling?
make sure that we're not.
Am I feeling okay?
As far as you can tell, yeah. You feel great. Just beat the
I
crap
feel
out of somebody
fine.
today. Want to
How
fight?
quickly would it take you to? Do you
Symptoms?
have magical prowesses to see if people are poisoned?
Hmm.
And while you're thinking of that, how would we go about if we had to out in the field? How could we determine the type of poison?
Well,
Do you have a book on that, maybe?
no, I don't usually read books, to be honest. I prefer to learn things with my hands.
And her nose. Look at it.
Wow.
I'm just gonna straight up
God damn it.
backhand him.
I'm just gonna step away from him, like not subtly at all, just stepping away from him.
I'm just gonna give him a solid backhand right to the head. Just-
Alright. Okay, cool. You watch her
Ow.
say, well, unfortunately, there isn't like an easy way to just tell. Maybe if you knew a very well cleric or something like that. But I can get started on trying to figure out exactly what this antidote is. I just have to reverse engineer it.
All right.
What is
Would
that?
that use
Yeah,
up
he
the
can't drink
antidote?
it.
What?
Or I'm eating chips.
Chips.
I thought
get
you
him
were
at the
role
end.
playing the backhand.
Wait, what?
He bit his tongue.
just rubbing my jaw. Hold on.
They had chips at
Wait,
the
that-
end.
Would that prevent him from being able to drink it?
Chips.
Would that prevent him from being able to drink or eat?
Does
the
that use up the
antidote.
Are you
vial,
going to
whatever you're
use
going to
up?
do, whatever the thing?
Well, no. I just need a little bit of it. It should still. You are very big. It should still be fine.
Yeah.
All right, I'll trust you.
And then she walks over to a plant that's next to her and touches the leaf, and then she vanishes. And as you guys look around, she's on the other end of her garden next to a different plant.
Okay, that was cool.
Did you see that? Did you guys do that?
Not
I'm gonna touch the same plant.
Nothing happens. You touch a plant. Feels like
I
a
like
leaf.
I like face palm.
I also touched the plant.
Feels like a leaf.
Oh,
Don't break it.
Don't break the leaf.
All right. She again, she kind of like disappears, and she appears right where you were touching the plant, and she's like, "Oh, You kind of got
poker.
yeah, like your hand is like on her rib cage. She's like,
Oh, I better appear. Look at that. She disappeared. I touched the plant. I did that.
right. So it'll take me a while. I'm just gonna go inside.
Thank you very
before
much for your help. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, I do.
Before she leaves, I'm gonna ask her if it's okay if I enjoy the garden for a little bit.
Certainly.
I'm gonna ask if I can stay in
Yeah.
and watch what she's doing.
I kinda walked through some garden.
It's
Standard.
okay, large one. Nature will always out resilient man.
And then they told me to run that way through the garden and run back.
No. I
There
said
was a
specifically
path,
towards the
yeah.
town. I made sure to specify.
Sander, are you going to the garden?
I'm going to avoid the garden.
Okay, I was
Good
gonna say
idea.
go into the garden, but you need to look and no touch.
Okay.
As you say that you want to enjoy the garden or something like that, she looks at you and says, "Well, certainly." She says, "Beware, not all the plants are very friendly."
That's fine.
What
Xander,
does
don't
that
punch
mean?
a plant that gets angry at you.
That mean she has killer plants.
That means you might find a worthy
Certainly.
adversary out in the garden.
No.
Why would you say it
No.
like that?
No.
Where is it?
No.
All right, yeah. So she kind of like takes the vial and stuff and starts to walk inside. She's got like a bundle of leaves and all kinds of stuff in her hands.
Just gonna follow and watch and
Well.
write notes.
It's gonna be a while. I'm going to go and find. What's that cleric's name again?
Verena.
Verena. I'm gonna go find Verena.
Well, I'd like to go back to the
I
library.
follow you.
I'd like to learn more about, see if there's any books about that.
I'm fine with
About-
going back to the
Circle of
library.
the Rose.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well.
So Vor and I are gonna go back to the library. Should we meet back in say 2,
3
3 hours? 3
Yeah.
hours? Okay.
Okie dokie.
Time of day is it?
It's
And
like
who? Okay.
dinner time.
Where's Kyler going?
To find
We're
Verena
gonna find the lady who cured me.
and/or poisoned you.
Okay. So are you going to take Xander with you, or do you want Xander to come with us? Somebody
No,
needs to
I
watch him. He's
follow-
poisoned.
I follow him, you said.
That's right. That's right. Actually, yeah, that is that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Good
That's what
job,
I'm doing.
Xander. Yep, you're doing an excellent job.
Okay then.
In all honesty, I'm probably one of the few of us who can actually carry him, so I'll take him.
Oh, I'm not too sure. Could pick up.
Just, if you feel sick on the stairs, please fall towards the wall, not away from it.
Okay. I feel
So
fine.
yeah, so far you feel perfectly fine.
While
Very
the herbalist is working, I'm gonna try to get back on her good side.
Okay. As you like go to try to talk to her or anything like that, she's 100,000% completely focused on her task. So like,
Alright.
she really doesn't even notice you talking for the first couple.
Wait,
minutes.
why are you bothering Sticks? Why are you going to bother her?
Was gonna try and see if I can figure out how to do this out in the field, in case we had to.
Well, you should ask, not.
I did.
He did, and she
Oh, okay.
didn't really say anything. She just kind of walked inside.
Okay, well, I mean, at least you're good at not being seen. So shouldn't really affect her work.
Years of practice.
Yeah. Okay. I know how to roll my eyes. Come on, board. Let's go
Off we go.
to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Well, at
I
least
should
we can all
hopefully
walk
find a
through
book in
the hall.
Primordial.
All right. So you guys all walk back to the Great Hall. Once you get to the Great Hall, you kind of like split up. Kyler and Xander, go ahead and roll investigation.
I've never been here, so I don't know.
Okay. You guys don't see who you're looking for at all, so you think that it's maybe a good idea to go to the pit where you were fighting earlier. So you eventually start. Yeah.
She might be at the pit.
Tiny and Vorag, you make your way back down to the library.
Hey.
Go ahead and roll investigation.
Okay, give me just a second.
Whoa!
Damn it.
Holy crap! These rolls.
I
I want to
find nothing.
redo. I'm gonna
find
redo. I
nothing.
want to redo.
You didn't even
I
find
wanna
the
read
library again.
No, I want to redo. Fuck that.
All right, yeah, you guys.
Oh!
What is going on?
I just want a
Damn
book
it.
in Primordial, man.
It,
That's so much to ask.
you guys spend probably a good couple hours walking around the library. You get to the point where you think that you should probably turn back because of the amount of time it's going to take you to get back to the herbalist hut. You definitely don't find any books that say anything close to Melen Inadun.
And I definitely don't find a Primordial book.
100% don't.
This makes me sad.
I don't want to bother the other lady again. Cause I don't. Well, do I even see her? Do you think she left?
Nope, they're gone.
I'm just gonna mumble curses and draconic under my
Do
breath.
I see any? Do I see any other? Like, do I see anybody else? Like any like Elvish people studying?
You don't necessarily. There's like a dragonborn in one of the corners, like reading a book real quick, and he's only there for a couple minutes, and he like puts it back up on the shelf. As you look into that glass cube, you see all the papers that they had still out on one of the tables, but the way the glass cube is set up, you can't really see. Like, you don't have a good enough vantage point to see down onto the table to see what those things are.
Or do I? Is there a chandelier somewhere up top?
Yeah, there's probably some
Above it?
chandeliers. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like a big one?
There,
is there
no,
several,
so there would be like
several?
several around.
Several.
Yeah.
Okay. How big do you think one is?
I mean, yeah, if you can get up to one, it would probably be able to hold you.
I mean, let me see here. I've got.
They're probably a good 15, 20 feet in the air, at least.
But I can see it, right?
The chandeliers?
Could I use?
Yeah.
Could I use Misty Step
You
on the
could.
chandelier?
You could. You can misty step to within 30 feet of anywhere.
Yeah. So could I use Misty Step to port
Mhm.
myself on top of it?
Sure can.
Okay. Is there like a staircase like up like surrounding like is there like a second story in the
No.
tavern? Okay, it's just one story. Okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. Vor, do you have any rope?
Rope?
Yeah, do you have rope? Actually, let me check my
No.
bag.
I
You
don't have
would
rope.
both have rope. You both have an explorer's pack, right?
Yeah, I have it. I have rope.
I don't.
Oh. Well, the person with the
I have
explorer's pack
I have
has 50 feet
I
of
have
rope.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vor, I want to see what's
Huh?
on. I want to see what's on that table. And this is kind of crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but do you think this is my plan? I could pour it on the top of the chandelier, but I'm worried if like if I fall or something. And so I'm trying to think of like kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I want to use the chandelier as like almost like a lever or something like that, and I want to use the rope and tie it around me, and I want to give the other half to Vor.
Sure. You can do that.
Okay, well, I'll explain that to Vor. That way I can see if I can get like a better vantage view of what's all on the table. Because you said they were talking about something pretty heated, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Or, well, it seemed like it. You couldn't hear anything that they were saying.
This is like the Mission Impossible shit right here.
Yeah.
I'm not the brightest cookie in the shed, so we're just gonna say, yeah, that doesn't seem like a terrible idea. How sturdy does this chandelier look?
It's pretty decent. It's like metal anchored into stone.
Okay, then yeah, it'll probably fine. So yeah, we're going with it.
Okay. And yeah, I tie the rope around myself, and I go and I port on top of the chandelier.
Vorag, you watch as you see her turn into mist. Something that you've never seen before at all. And then all of a sudden the mist is on top of the chandelier.
All right.
It's very like crazy surreal type thing that happened.
Did the rope even stay around her?
Yes, the rope does stay. So did all of her clothing and all that kind of stuff. Go ahead and roll that D100, girl.
Oh, you've gotta be fucking kidding me.
Hey. Let's go.
Oh my god.
In before unicorn.
D4.
Oh, please no
Oh.
unicorn.
All right. As the mist materializes, up on top of that chandelier,
Oh my god.
you see Tiny for a second, and then all of a sudden, fog starts to erupt from her. It pours off of the chandelier down onto the ground. It becomes extremely hard to see anything, like even like 10 feet in front of your face.
I fucking hate this so much.
All right. At that point, I'm just gonna say nothing and start. I'm going to lightly tug on the rope, indicating that I'm going to start pulling.
Tiny,
Yes.
you can see above the fog layer, so you can kind of still see into that glass box.
Oh, what?
The glass box doesn't let any of the fog in.
Okay.
As you are looking down, you can clearly see the defined table and like the parchments and the books and stuff that were laid open. As you look harder, all of the lines are hazy and fuzzy. It's really surreal because you can see the clear defined edge of like the paper and stuff like that. But go ahead and roll an Arcana check.
Okay. How do I do that? Where is it? Oh, I see it.
Yep. You can understand that there is something in this magical barrier that is preventing
double
you.
That, right? Or I would add 2 to that, right, for my proficiency bonus?
Not for this instance, no.
Oh, okay.
But you can tell, even with that check, that there is something inside that barrier that is preventing you from taking any knowledge out. So although you can see like the papers and the books and stuff like that, it's the words and the markings and everything are illegible.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just fucking wasted of fucking magic. God damn it.
Hey, at least a unicorn didn't appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, she just turned the whole library into fog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I can't see Vor now.
Which is fantastic for books.
I mean, to be fair, there's still the rope, so we're good.
Yeah, and you do, even though you can't see him, you did feel him tug gently on the rope.
Okay. Vor, I can't really see you.
Yeah, that's just. Yeah.
Just tug as hard as you can.
Misty step back to the direction of the end of the rope.
Let me go ahead and
Am I allowed to cast Misty Step a second time though?
let me look at your character sheet. I think so.
Even though I'm not in combat?
The combat doesn't matter. It's just however many spell slots you have for the day.
I still
I
use
think
the
I have-
spell.
Let me check.
Yeah, you can cast it again. You have 2 second level spell slots.
What if you need it?
Huh?
And you have your sorcery points.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, I Misty Step back to like where the rope's at.
Okay. Yeah, you Misty Step and you kind of feel Tiny's presence next to you. Go ahead and roll that D100, girl.
Fucking just forgot about that too. Jesus Christ.
42.
Hey.
You turn into a potted plant until the start, until the start of your next turn. While a plant, you are incapacitated and have vulnerability to all damage. If you drop to 0 hit points, your pot breaks and your form reverts.
Yeah, so you feel Tiny's presence. You
There's
can't,
just a
like,
rope around a potted plant.
Yep. You can't like figure out exactly where she's at or anything like that. And then all of a sudden your foot like kicks this thing and it tips over.
Alright.
As you reach
Do I
down to
notice-
grab it, you
Yeah.
feel
1
like
HP damage.
no. You feel like dirt and stuff.
All right. Do I notice that the rope is around this?
Yes, you do.
Then I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna scoop the dirt back into it and pick it up and attempt to navigate out of the library.
Oh my god.
Are there any
Eventually-
stairs in the library?
Yeah, there are. Eventually, the fog starts to begin to thin out, and you can see the stairs, and you're able to make it to the stairs. You are holding a potted plant with purple leaves.
It would be hilarious if she like swapped places with the potted plant. You just walk out with the plant and she's trapped somewhere.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna navigate my way out back towards the apothecary in the town.
I like how he's just like, this is my life now. I'm carrying a potted plant.
Dude, I don't question anything. I'm just a guy that yeah,
Just a
Just
guy
walked
who
the
likes
plant.
potted
You should-
plants.
Should
who
just
likes
drag-
potted plant.
Should just drag the plant out on the rope still. Walking up the stairs.
I can't say anything, so I'm not saying anything.
Nope,
Yeah.
you sure can't.
Wait, but can't she move her leaves violently?
Nope, she's incapacitated.
I can't do
She
shit.
doesn't even know what's happening.
Yeah, she is literally a potted plant.
Okay, cleric lady.
All right.
She has turned it to the whale from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
So after about 10 minutes or so, the potted plant all of a sudden begins to shake violently in your hand, and then pop. There's Tiny. And you're like holding
Yep.
her in your arms, with the rope still tied around her.
I'm going to take the rope off her and just put her on my shoulder and
Ah!
say nothing.
Hello? Vor?
Yeah?
Where are we?
We're currently walking towards the village, so wherever we're at, I don't know where we would be at by that point.
You're like in the Great Hall, about to go through the door that leads out to the village.
We were just in the library.
Yeah?
Did I port us somewhere?
No.
I like how blasé
happened,
he is
didn't it?
about this.
All
It
right.
happened, didn't it?
One more time?
Well, it kind of happened, didn't it?
I mean, if by it happened you mean you turned into a potted plant, apparently, then sure.
Alrighty, so Xander and Kyler, you guys make it down to the pit. Both of you roll investigation again.
Oh god. Oh. It's a nat 20, but with the -1.
Still works.
I can smell her. She's here.
All right. So eventually, once you get past the pit, you realize that there's another hallway that leads to a different section. You go down that hallway, and you see that it leads into like a sanctuary.
I can smell her down here.
Kyler, you get that feeling that you had during the dream that you had last night. The closer you get to the sanctuary. Eventually, you walk through the door, and you're in what is essentially a chapel, and you can both see Verena sitting at like a little scribe's desk in the far corner.
Hello.
What symbols are in the room?
You see Maliki. You actually roll religion. You definitely see Maliki. You know that one for 100%.
I know all of these.
Okay.
See?
You see Maliki. You see. Hold on. Let me pull up the list. You see Azith, which is the god of knowledge. You see one for Helm, which is basically a god of life. You also see one for Kelimvor, which is a god of death. And then you see one for Tempest and Tyre. And Saloon. So 2 gods of war, 2 gods of knowledge, the god of life, and the god of death. So as you walk in, you're kind of like looking around. There's not anybody else in here. Verena seems to be the only person in here. And
Hello.
she's studying. As you say something, she kind of looks up and turns around and says, yes, can I help you?
Yeah. Can you detect poison on him? Are you capable of sensing poisons?
Okay.
Was that why we came here?
Yes.
I mean, yes, certainly, I guess. And she says, come here and lay down. And she like points to like basically like a stone bench.
Sit down.
Yeah, she has you lay down on it, and she looks at you. She looks at you. She looks at the fastener on your like armor piece, and she says, "You can't do this, Paladin."
No.
And she kind of like closes her eyes and puts her hand on top of Xander's head. Xander, you feel that weird warm sensation that you did the last time she touched you. She looks at you and says, he's not poisoned.
What?
The ruby that was supposed to detect poisons turned red when he left us.
What
Or
ruby?
When he was near it. When the rest of the group is near it, it's white.
I don't know anything about a ruby. I just know what my gods allow me to know through their divine intervention, I should say.
Would you come with us and check the rest of our group? Because according to the test that we're doing, one of us is poisoned.
Why would one of you be poisoned?
As part of our trial, according to Nathan.
Nathan. Okay. She like
I mean, while we're here, you can like test me. And then we
she looks at you and says, test you for what?
the poison.
You're a paladin.
That
You can't be
no, I'm
poisoned.
the champ. That doesn't matter. Yes, I can.
No, she knows this for a fact.
No, it's literally only diseases.
It's trust
Diseases. I looked it up.
me.
I'm
Also,
immune to diseases at 3rd level.
wouldn't you just be able to touch yourself and be fine? She says it like that with this sly grin on purpose.
I like her.
And yes, you would know that 5 points of lay on hands will cure a poison.
Oh, I didn't know it did that now. No, it's neutralize it. I mean, it's still there though, right?
No,
Oh,
it
okay.
neutralizes the effect of the poison.
But yeah, divine health is only immune to disease now.
Huh, well, either which way. She's like, certainly, if you really want me to waste my time on you. And she walks over to you and touches your forehead. You feel that warmth feeling shed throughout your entire body. It's like a searing feeling. You have a little bit of knowledge of like holy spells and stuff like that. Just from her touching you and casting this on you, you can tell how ridiculously high level of a cleric she is. Like it overwhelms you with her power. And she's like, no, you're not poisoned. And then she walks out. Expecting the two of you to follow. Like she kind of looks behind her, waiting for you two to catch up.
Follow.
I look at Xander and be like, I'm not a paladin. No, follow.
I'm already following her. She knows what she's doing. I don't know about you.
All right. So
You
guys get out into the pit and then like back up the stairs, and she kind of looks at everybody, or the two of you, and she's like, where's the rest of you?
Being at the inn in the village.
At the inn?
Yes.
The
Okay.
Herbalist.
Herbalist, yeah, I was gonna say. Is it the herbalist?
It's towards the inn. It's still
The
village.
wood elf.
Anyways,
Are we meeting there?
she goes up the stairs. You guys follow her. She eventually gets up the stairs, and there's a younger girl, an elfin girl that comes up, and she's like, "Oh, Verena, I was just out." And Verena stops her. I don't care for your excuses. Whatever. Go get me Nathan. Tell him to meet me by the herbalist. And she continues walking.
Starting to not like this Nick guy.
All right. So eventually, you guys
I'm
meet.
gonna ask her on the way.
Uh-huh.
Has Nathan ever done anything like this before?
Well, you guys are the first group that they've tried to recruit as a group, so who knows?
I meant more along the lines of poisoning someone, but that works.
Well, I mean, I'm sure if he had to do it to get the job done, then he's had to do it to get the job done.
And we get there.
Yep, give me a second. Sorry, I'm looking at something.
Also, who is that lady? One of your assistants?
Yes, she's training to become a cleric and feels the importance of studying is beneath her. But one day when she's on the battlefield and all of her friends around her are missing limbs and dead, she'll understand. It's worth saying, Kyler, you fall more and more in love with her the more and more you talk to her, and she's completely indifferent of you. Yeah, okay. So you guys make it down to the herbalist. Vorag and Tiny are probably already there.
Mm-hmm.
You guys watch as this woman that you've seen before comes walking up the path. As she walks straight up to Vorag and touches him on the forehead. Vorag, you feel this like weird warmth sensation, and then she pulls her hand back and says, interesting. You should visit the sanctuary. Anyways, you're not poisoned. Come here, little one. And she kind of like kneels down and she's like, oh, you're older than I thought you were. I'm very sorry. Come here, madam. And then she kind of like holds out her hand for Tiny to walk up to her. As she does, she presses her hand against your forehead, Tiny. And she says, you're not poisoned either. Anybody else?
Yes, Disc, he's inside. Or we're supposed to be.
And she kind of just like walks through the garden.
Don't
Open-
step on the.
I'm sure. Yes.
She opens the door and says, "Hello, Seath. It's nice to see you. Oh, you're okay." And then she says, "Stisk," and she kind of like looks around the hut looking for Stisk.
Yeah.
It's not very hard to find you. She walks up to you and she says, "Just a moment," and she like puts her hand on your forehead. Again, you feel that weird warmth feeling that everybody else has felt, and she goes, "You're not poisoned either."
So we were lied to.
No,
Probably.
hold on. I'd like to. Wait. What's her name again?
Who?
Verena.
The cleric is Verena.
Yeah.
Yes.
Verena.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know her name. Do you?
No, you don't.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know her name.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think
Okay,
you've met her
So,
yet.
okay, hold on. I've got a question. Would you mind answering?
Sure. I'm already out here.
And I pull out the gem
Mhm,
and the vial.
mhm.
So,
You don't have the vial. Seath
What
The
does.
vials.
oh no, Boar has it, right?
No, Seath has
He
the vial.
has it.
Oh yeah. So I put out the ruby. This is supposed to detect poison. However, why is it that only that when we're around Xander, it's red?
I don't know anything about rubies, other than they're usually pretty.
Red
Like I
now.
said, I get my ability to determine whether or not a body is weak to poisons through my god.
Weak to poisons, but not exactly poisoned.
No, if they're affected by poison, I would know.
Is the ruby
In
red
fact, I'll show you. And she turns to Seath and says, "Seath." And Seath kind of like looks up and looks at her and she's like, "Yes." She's like, "Do you mind ingesting some for me?" And Seath goes, "Okay, I guess." And she pulls out like a little clump of what you
Watch the ruby.
what you would know as nightshade. I mean, the ruby right now is red because all of you are standing in the hut, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
now?
So she pulls out a little bit of nightshade and she goes, and she eats it. And then, like 5 minutes later, she immediately falls to the floor. And like she's like foaming at the mouth and stuff like that. And you watch as Verena walks over to her, puts her hand on her forehead, whispers a word that you don't understand or you can't really hear, and then Seath is conscious and standing back up.
Kyler,
So-
Boar, why can't you do that? Why can't you guys do that?
He has divine abilities well beyond any person I've ever seen.
Or she's just way better than you. Damn.
I
She
will
kind
not go
of smiles at
into
you,
that.
but doesn't say anything.
She's good.
So
Better than you.
I have one final question. Nathan, do you know?
Nathan's
do
not
you-
here yet.
What?
Nathan is
No,
not
no,
here
I'm not.
yet.
I'm not talking to Nathan.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking to her
Alright.
about Nathan. Do you know him fairly well, somewhat? Do you say you have? Do you have a good idea of his character, of who he is as a person?
Sure, yeah.
Does he
Why?
play tricks on people a lot?
No. He's very much a get the job done type of person.
Can he? Can he be very deceiving at times?
If he has to be, I'm sure he can get away with it.
Could he hide a poison?
Anybody can hide a poison. It's not that difficult. Even you could hide a poison.
I don't know about that.
Anyway, I'm gonna go over to just touch Xander on the shoulder
Uh-huh.
and casually neutralize poison on him.
Uh-huh.
Because apparently I can do that.
But she already did it. I'm fine.
Yeah.
She detected poison.
And she
didn't she?
no, she did detect poison on him. She cast detect poison and told you he was not poisoned.
Wait,
Just
so
in
he
case.
was poisoned.
No.
No.
She's detected poison and I
Oh.
was not poisoned.
Oh, you were
Just
not
the
poisoned.
ruby
Okay.
change color.
Okay.
No, the ruby is red right now.
Is it just because we're in this hut with poisons in it?
Could be the case.
How about I walk with the ruby out farther?
This still doesn't make sense to me. I just. Ugh.
Hand me the
My
ruby.
theory
Hand me the
is
ruby.
they did
None of us are
something.
poisoned, we're fine.
They did something with that with the ruby, and that vial they handed us was poisoned, which is going to lead us to giving it to whoever we figured out was poisoned, giving them that vial as an antidote, and inadvertently poisoning them ourselves.
Seath looks at you and says, "Oh no, the vial is an antidote for shrieker spores."
Hmm.
Shrieker spores. Does it? No. Would it say anything about poison by like shrieker spores? If there was any like. Then in my notes, would it say anything about like side effects?
Yeah, it's actually like the side effects are pretty violent and stuff like that, like anthrax type stuff, like vomiting and all kinds of stuff.
Does it say when the poison becomes active? Like once ingested? How long does it take for the effects to?
Yeah, it's usually pretty quick.
We were given an antidote for a possibly like wrong type of poison.
Maybe,
then.
yeah.
Because in my notes, then it would specifically say like Xander isn't dealing with any of those symptoms. Nobody is. So we've been duped.
What if the poison got cured when Xander did after the fight?
Oh my god. Is that possible?
Probably.
I mean, it is
She did
technically
heal all his
possible.
wounds.
She did heal
Has she
him.
healed him?
Would she have detected it then?
No, not unless she was casting detect magic.
That doesn't explain the ruby though. It's
I don't know.
broken, but that doesn't make sense. It would
We
be
checked
broken.
with Dila. and
Yeah,
she said it was one of hers.
Yeah, she said it was one of hers.
Uh-huh.
What type
At
of poison
this
is it supposed
point-
to... Fucking...
Nathan walks in and says, "Oh, I see you've met Verena and
You!
Seath. Hi.
I have a bone to pick with you, sir.
I'm certain most people do. How can I help you?"
Oh, it's gonna be in the form of a fireball!
Please no.
Are you,
Oh boy.
you going to cast fireball?
Please,
No.
please no.
Please
This boar hold me back.
Yes, I'm going to 100% pick you up, put you on my shoulder, be like, please no.
Well, then I'll grab him.
No. God damn.
I'll get the chains.
No.
Oh my god. Anyways, so Nathan looks at the rest of you and says, "So, how's it going?"
We're not poisoned.
I think we figured out your riddle.
I'm sorry, hold on. How did you figure that out?
The ruby, and then I
Right.
point at the new lady.
By utilizing the resources we've had at our hands.
Well, there you go. You've passed test 3. It's correct. None of you are poisoned. And he walks over to Xander. And he kind of like takes his knife out and he cuts a little splotch of your like pants off. And then he says, "Here's your poison." And you can see like a little yellow stain on his pants.
Oh, I thought you'd just being myself there.
It's like it's like pollen, like a pollen stain. And then Seath like looks at it and she's like, "Ah, shrieker spores."
Well, at
I'm
least your pants weren't
seething.
poisoned.
I am seething right now. I am so
Huh.
pissed.
How did that get there?
I figured as much.
The point of the test was to figure out whether or not your group was smart enough to understand that it needed help from outside sources and would actually come to the keep to seek help, which you did in the form of Verena. Hi, Verena. Verena is glaring at him.
I'm fucking seething right now. I am pissed.
Stop elfing.
Well,
What?
I'm glad to know that you all made it. I will see you in the morning. Welcome to the order.
Verena,
She kind of just looks at you.
as a new member of the Red Ivy Order, may I ask a favor of you?
Sure.
Where does Nathan sleep?
Oh, don't worry about that, sweetie.
What did she say?
She says, "Oh, don't worry about that, sweetie."
What do you mean?
Isn't she's gonna take care of it herself?
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
then
for herself, not us, but
I kind of I smiled sly back.
Yeah,
at
she
her.
smiles back at you. And she's like, well, this has been a fun, interesting experiment and a waste of my afternoon. Now to go yell at my own students. And she walks out.
Oh, before she leaves, I'm gonna put Tiny down and go ask her about the sanctuary that she mentioned.
Yeah, so when you walk out, she looks at you and says, you should stop by the sanctuary. I feel a presence. Don't necessarily know why you're trying to hide it.
I mean, I'm not try.
We can't hear what they're saying, right?
No, I would assume they went outside, so no.
Then yeah, no, I haven't really been trying. They don't ask questions.
Well, anyways,
Liar.
it might be a good idea to seek someone out.
Yeah, then I'll ask her where the sanctuary is at. And...
Yeah, she explains it to you.
All right. Then after that, I'll bid her adieu and go back inside.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? Or...
I'm gonna start chatting up Seath.
Fuck Nathan.
It's
God damn it.
I think it's time to go eat some food.
Yeah, it's definitely like
You are speaking my language
getting
right
pretty
now.
late.
Yes, it's called common.
What?
He called you
Actually-
basic.
Food.
All right, well, that is where we will leave it for the night. You guys have succeeded. You are technically now a part of the Red Ivy.
We did
All
it.
without the
Parents.
death.
Do I
Now
get
we
any
go
thanks?
die.
All right. I believe
Can I murder Nathan now?
I mean, you can try. I believe everybody is good for next week. I'm not exactly sure if I am because my birthday is coming up and I don't know if I'm going to be here or what's going on.
Happy birthday!
No,
Happy birthday.
Let's not do that.
Happy birth-
Anyways. So, yeah. Keep an eye on Twitter. Exclamation point Twitter. That will let you know if anything changes. But for right now, Sunday is still on. Other than that, thank you all for hanging out. I love you. Say bye, everybody.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Everybody.
Bye.